Forum also addressed the treatment of migrants, calling for the development of safe and legal routes for people desperately seeking sanctuary so that they can contribute to our society. Of course, the General Assembly may talk the talk. The Church is already walking the walk. Here's just one example. Sight Hill in Glasgow was selected in the late 1990s as a temporary housing location for refugees and asylum seekers. As a result, the neighbourhood had one of the most diverse ethnic make-ups in Scotland. In the early 2000s, the flats, the school and St Roderick's Church were flattened to make way for one of the biggest redevelopments in the country, and a brand new church was opened in 2019. 85% of the church's members were born outside the UK. Many have been waiting for years to hear if they will be allowed to stay.
Psalmist says, "O Lord, you've searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit."
Jane Howitt is minister.
I rise. We do tend to see people who are in extreme need. We saw that just recently with one of the families from Kurdistan that we support and actually are members of our congregation. And sadly, mum contracted COVID, was in hospital and then in the intensive care unit. Her husband and her daughter found it very difficult to orientate themselves through all of that, and especially at the very end of the mother's life when a decision had to be made to withdraw care from her. So I was able to be there and support them through that. And then, of course, is the question of arranging a funeral and paying for a funeral. We all know that that's a hefty cost, no matter what our background is. And just helping folks, accompanying them through that, I think is a really important part of what we're called to be as Christians.
Simon Swamu has been in Scotland for 15 years since escaping from prison in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Simon is studying for an HNC in social care. He's doing a placement at Threshold, a day centre near Glasgow Green, which is run by Crossreach, the Church of Scotland care agency.
He's really good at interacting with the customers and really helpful with them. If he sees a customer sitting on their own, he'll go over and chat to them and get them involved. Gets them all involved in everything.
He's really got to know them and they've taken to him really good.
We go for a walk. I enjoy myself helping people. That is a gift that I've been given by God. Working with the people learning disabilities, those they are seeking help and they need the people they're going to give them even a second for our life. Us, we have to learn first and to know how to socialize with them and to make them feel they are human beings and they are part of the society.
For many migrants, there is the constant fear of the sudden arrival of Home Office immigration bans, such as happened recently in Kenmure Street in Glasgow.
Folk who've come to this country seeking asylum have often had a very traumatic experience that's led them here, and then they are re-traumatised in the way in which we are treating them by dawn raids, removals, deportations. And certainly it's our hope here as a congregation, and I know widely across the Church of Scotland, that our government might find a more humane way to implement the law and to really take into consideration the traumatic effect that their actions are having.
I meet with amazing people, great people. Really, I benefited a lot. Experiences and the clients, they are happy to work together with me. I really enjoy myself, and I want also to be a role model for other people. Why not to study and to become useful to the society?
The status someone has, whether they're an asylum seeker or a refugee or a migrant, sometimes these labels can pigeonhole people. And I think it's important that the church recognises that every human being is created in God's image and that everyone is deserving of human dignity. So whatever status someone has, in the eyes of the church, they're all loved by God, and we're called to welcome the stranger and love our neighbour. The other thing about the church is in many congregations we have asylum seekers and refugees and migrants as members and elders. And so that experience of the church having asylum seekers and refugees in the body of our membership gives us real insight into some of the issues that people are facing. So when we speak out in public, it's from the concern of Scripture and the importance to welcome the stranger, but also from the direct experience of those who are affected by decisions and policies. And so that's why the church wants to speak out and engage on these kind of questions.
So we've seen